Hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if it's your first time here. This is going to be my November wrap up. I am truly so excited for all the books that I'm going to be reading this month, and I am filming this on November 1st because I actually already finished my very first book, which is freaking awesome. I read a really short, dark romance smut novella called Noire Moon. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying that correctly. Don't hate me. This is like a secret society smut where you go and it's like kind of like a haunted house vibe almost, and you get to pick a wristband saying how much like kinky fun you want to have, and the main character accidentally trips and falls and picks the one that's like the kinkiest, and obviously it's in the pitch black, and the only one that can see what the bands mean are the people involved in the event. And you run, and if you get caught you have to do whatever that wristband says that you do. Since she has the highest wristband, she gets caught and she ends up having sex with three men. It's a why choose. This is actually a prequel to a full set of books, which I had no idea, and it actually makes me really excited because I actually really like this one. And I read one like this one time where it was like the prequel to a series, and then the first book was like half of the prequel. I went and checked, like the first whole book is like its own thing. Like this is a true prequel to their love story. And the first full-size book is like its own thing, which makes me really happy. I probably would get to it in 2026 sometime. I have no idea when, but I thought it was really hot and like it was checking all the boxes for me. I have a really hard time giving like smut that's just pure smut. I have a really hard time giving it 5 stars. So I'm giving it a four. I'm just gonna give it a 4. I'm just gonna give it a 4. I know like that logic doesn't make any sense because it is a book. I should be able to read it however I want. I just have a hard time rating it solely off of smut. And if anything, I wish that we would have gotten some more of a certain person in the prequel because it could have really put it over the top for me. There is this one character, they all wearing masks, and he doesn't really talk, and I wish that she had more interactions with him because he seemed like he'd be really hot, and I'm really curious if in the full-size book he does open up with her. But it's called Noire Moon. I hope I'm saying that right. Oh my god, I'm so sorry if I'm not. It is November 4th, and I just finished Twelfth Knight, which is my second book of the month. This is going to be in my Annotate With Me video where I talk about spoilers and such, so I'm not going to go into too much details about it in this particular video, but I am going to give it a 3.5. This is not a good book. Like, it's arguably not good at all, but it is exactly what I needed at this current time. I've had a really hard time in my personal life. Work's been overwhelming. Things haven't really been going to plan. My headset snapped the other day. So I really feel like I just needed something to escape into and to like deal with someone else's problems for a little bit. And do these people have some stupid problems? And it was messy, and it was like teen angst, and it was kind of giving like reality TV show vibes. And no, I don't think this is a good book. And no, I probably won't remember it in a month. And no, I probably won't ever recommend it to someone. But for this very moment, it was exactly what I needed. It was comforting. It was escapism. It was like a friend, honestly. So let me tell you what it's about. This is following a main character who plays in a video game called Twelfth Knight, but she pretends to be a man because she says as a woman in this world that she doesn't get taken care of seriously. She gets sexualized, she gets hit on, she gets made fun of, so she chooses to be a male character so that she gets taken serious. And the other main character is a football player who gets hurt during the football season and ends up joining the game as of something to do while he's healing. And he does not know that she is a woman. And they're like talking to each other over this video game, but she knows his identity because he's like a very, very not protective username at all. Like his username is pretty much his last name, which is crazy in like the theme of the internet right now, but he has no idea who she is. So he's pretty much getting lied to. But there's like some drama between them, and then there's drama between some other characters in the books, and it's like a lot of drama. And it's not my drama, so I loved it. So I don't think it will stick with me at all, but I didn't annotate a whole lot for it. But I think it's a really cute book. I actually really love the artwork. Unfortunately, I have a policy where I don't keep a book unless it's over 4 stars on my shelf because I want my shelf to be representative of my favorite books. And even though it is a pretty book, I don't think it's worth having it on my shelf. So I will be unhauling this. You don't have to agree with that. If you keep all the pretty books in your life, that's totally fine. I just don't. I just think even though like it's a trophy on my shelf, I want it to be a trophy that's like the best of the best, not because that was a okay book that I'll never reread, but it's pretty so it can stay. I don't really want that energy in my life. So I will be unhauling it. Probably one of my friends will get it, and I got it off of a bargain section. So even though it's a sprayed edge with some pretty end pages, I got it for $4, I think. So it's really no harm to me to get rid of a special edition in this case. I have like argued that I didn't want to get rid of special editions in the past, but I think I am. Like I'm about to do a shelf cleanup of like truly anything that's not 4 stars is gonna be outie. I don't care if it's a special edition. I just need space on my shelf. Like these books are taking up space on my shelf. If I had unlimited space, it might be a bit differently, but I don't have unlimited space. So it's like, okay, I need to make space with new books. So that means these lungs that are less than 3 are gonna outie. I do already know what I'm gonna be reading next. I'm gonna be reading A Pirate's Life for Tea. I did not like the first one. I am unhauling the first one. And if I don't like this one, I'm DNFing the series. But I have hopes because it's about pirates and I love pirates. And I also a sprayed edge, so I'm wanting to keep. But like I said, if it's under a 4-star, it's gonna go outie as well. So I'm gonna be starting this, and I am aiming to read about 150 pages a day. So I'm gonna be reading 50 pages of this today, and maybe finishing it. It's currently Tuesday. I might be finishing it by Thursday, maybe if I'm on track with my reading. And I'll be back to talk about that in a few days. But yeah, Twelfth Knight, it's not a bad book. There might be someone out there that really likes it. It's essentially like it's kind of like a role play game, but that's not the whole point. Like it's actually like very little of it is about romance. Like I thought it was a much bigger romance book. That's why I picked it to annotate, and then it ended up being like the romance is only really in like the last 50 pages of the book. The rest of the book is about drama, which I needed, but it's not what I was expecting to get out of it. So I just don't think I'm gonna rate it like as high as I thought I might have rated it. But also, I am reading a lot of romance books this month, and as people know, I'm not the biggest fan of romance, but these are my physical shelf, so I'm giving them a fair try. Like, I could have just DNF'd this, and I didn't, because like I said, it was comforting in the moment, and that's all you can really ask for in books sometimes. Not every book has to be a masterpiece. So a 3.5 isn't bad, and I'm hoping to like A Pirate's Life for Tea, and we'll find out. Okay, I am back. It is November 6th, and I have just finished A Pirate's Life for Tea, and I'm going to be giving this a 4-star. It had some critiques and flaws that kept me from giving it a 5-star, but overall, it's a very fun book. I'll tell you the plot of it. This is following the main characters from the first book, but they have introduced 2 new side characters, and there is the quest for the dragon eggs, but there's also the quest to get this friends to enemies to hopefully be lovers storyline to fruition. The new characters are Bobby and Serena, and they were childhood best friends, but then Bobby becomes a constable, which is like a sheriff in this place, and Serena becomes a pirate, and so it's Bobby's job to go collect Serena and give her justice, but she's having a hard time doing that because she doesn't want her friend to die or be in jail for a long time, and she's trying to hopefully capture her and then convince her to stop being a pirate. And then Serena is like, no, I need to talk with Bobby so I can hopefully make her see that what's happening isn't my fault. Like, I'm not the villain. I'm actually the good guy here. So there's 2 plot lines that are happening throughout the entire book. We have the main characters from the first book trying to find the dragon eggs to appease the dragons so they stop attacking their hometown. And then we have the new plot line of Serena and Bobby trying to figure out their fucking messy ass relationship, pretty much. And there's a lot of pirates in this book. It's amazing. I love the pirates in this book. It was fun, and there's a lot of sea shanties, and there's a lot of pirate references, and there's a lot of dancing and drinking, and it was such a good entertaining time. There is, like I said, there is a few critiques. I don't want to go into spoilers because I do have an Annotate With Me video about this book and the other books that you're seeing me read back to back. But the things, I'll just mention them briefly, and if you want more details, you can go watch the Annotate With Me video. But I don't like the fact that the main characters, the plot line isn't specifically about them, it's about the side characters. So I think that the side characters should have been the main characters and the main characters should have been side characters. I don't like how pushy the main characters are in the book, and I don't completely understand why this series is being organized the way that it is. But I'm giving it a 4-star. I liked it way more than the first one. The first one I gave a really low score because I just didn't like it. I thought it was boring. I didn't like hearing about people picking out paint. This one had a cozy fantasy vibe, but with still this sense of adventure, and I think that's why it worked for me so much, is because I need some adventure with my cozy fantasy, which might defeat the purpose of a cozy fantasy, but that's what my brain needs to be able to fully enjoy it. And I enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun with it. Like, I would recommend this one. Like, I think you can technically read them as standalones. You won't get the storyline of the main characters and how they met in the first book if you don't read the first book, but I do think that you could read this book completely by itself. I think I would recommend that. I think I would recommend reading this as a standalone instead of like as a series. The first one is just not good in my opinion. It's very boring, and maybe you won't find it boring, but if you're someone that needs some adventure to their books, I definitely would recommend starting with A Pirate Life for Tea. And also, I just think it's so much better. I mean, it has fucking pirates. It has lesbian pirates. That's so much better than lesbian bookshop owners, in my opinion. So that's my review and rating on it. I did like it more than I thought. I'm not entirely sure if I'll be reading the third or the fourth book because I just don't like the way that the series is necessarily set up. I don't own the other books. I don't know if I'll buy the other books. I think it might just get put on a list of maybes if I run out of things to read in 26, or like if I'm bored and I want to change of pace, I might read them. But since they're technically able to be read as standalones, I might just stop here. But that is 2026 May's decision, not current May's decision. But yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful book with lesbians. The artwork is stunning. I'm not sure if I'm going to unhaul it because I am unhauling the first one. But like I said, that's 2026 May's decision, not current May's decision. So it took me about 2 days to read. I'm giving it a 4-star, not a bad time. I would really like to get a 5-star soon. It's like 6 days into the month. I'd like to get a 5-star soon. Do I think any of these on my list are going to be 5 stars? I'm really not sure because they're very romance heavy and we know how I feel about romance. But I'm having high hopes but low expectations, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm reading Once Upon a K-Prom. This is a book that my friend Paris really liked. I just realized I have a special edition of it, and it has like a reversible cover. That's actually super cute. I actually really like that. Paris does not think that I'm going to like this book, but we're going to see. We're going to see. I'm going to give it a fair chance, and I am trying to finish this book. Today is Thursday. I'm going to try to finish this book by Saturday. I might end up reading a lot of it on Saturday because Friday is my dad's birthday and I'll be away for a lot of the day after I work. So we might be reading the bulk of it on Saturday, but my goal is to finish this book by Saturday. So I will check in hopefully on Saturday when I finish the book. Good morning. It is November 8th and I have finished Once Upon a K-Prom. I actually ended up really liking this. Like, it was really cute for a romance. I'm going to be giving it a 3.75. Because it's not wowing me, but I actually liked it more than I thought I was going to, because I was like, oh my god, it's teenagers, and it's K-pop, and I don't like teenagers, I don't like K-pop. But I actually really did like it. It was really cute and wholesome, and it had some really, like, moments that kind of, like, made me want to cry. But let me tell you what it's about. It is following the main character who, instead of wanting to go to prom, she is trying to raise money for a center that is, like, for kids and teenagers to have a place to go and for babysitting and like community center, like basketball and getting help and getting tutoring, like kind of like a outreach center almost. And she's wanting to raise money for it instead of going to prom. She's not anti-prom. She's just asking people that whatever money that they would have used to go to prom to donate to the center, or if they're going to go to prom to just go cheaper, like do a cheaper dress and then donate what you would have spent to the community center because she's just trying to do a good thing. And no one cares really. And so she gets asked, like, oh, why do you want to go to prom? And she's like, I don't want to go to prom because, I'm trying to raise this money. But secretly, there's a second reason. And it's because when she was like 7 years old, she made a promise to this guy that they would go to prom together. But he's now a huge K-pop star. And they haven't spoken in 7 years. And she's like, there's no way he's going to come back and ask me to prom. So I'm just not going to go to prom because I want to go with him. Well, plot twist, he does in fact show up to ask her to prom. And she's like, why are you just showing up all of a sudden 7 years later to ask me for prom? And he says, well, we made a promise. And I keep my promises. So it's kind of following the two of them, like in their journey of like getting ready for prom and her trying to figure out if she wants to go to prom with him. But I think what I liked the most about it was the representation of K-pop and Korean culture. I don't know if it's like the very best representation of those things, but I learned a lot from the book. Like, I didn't know Korean age was a thing, which I know they no longer really use Korean age, but I didn't even know that was a thing that they did use. And Korean age is essentially like everyone's born 1 year old, and then you gain like you're 1 at birth, and then you're 2 at your first birthday. So to them, they're always like 1 year older than us, but they don't apparently use that anymore because like they went into like a couple different reasons. But I didn't know that was even a thing. I also didn't realize that in K-pop they couldn't like have relationships and they couldn't do the songs that they wanted and they couldn't cut their hair they wanted. I didn't know any of that really. So this was like a good way of dipping my toes into it, of like how, I don't want to use toxic because I'm sure they love it, but maybe that is the right word. Like how controlling the K-pop industry can be and how K-pop fans can act towards their idols and their biases. I think I wasn't aware of all that went into K-pop and being a K-pop fan and being a K-pop artist, and this definitely kind of opened my eyes to it, and I kind of have a respect for them now. I don't listen to K-pop. Probably will never listen to K-pop like an actual fan. I have a friend that's a huge fan, and she's the one that was telling me about this book, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try because I'm gonna dip my toes in. I might like it. If anything, it's gonna be really cute, and it was really cute. I'm going to be giving it a 3.75, which does mean I'm going to be unhulling it. Paris, I'm so sorry. It's not a bad book. It's just not for me. I'm sure there's a K-pop fan out there that would absolutely love this book. I had a fun time with it. It was a nice, pleasant read. Wasn't difficult to understand. It was a good for the moment kind of book, and now it's going to go find a better home than my home. But it's gorgeous because it has like the exterior cover underneath, and I did annotate it quite a bit. Like, it had some really cute moments. It's just, I'm picky. What else can I say? I like the main characters. I also think that they're adorable. Like, look at them. They're adorable. I kind of want to go to a K-pop concert just to experience it. Would I know what they're saying? No. Would I understand anything happening around me? No. But I think it'd be so fun. Maybe that's just me being delusional, and I love experiencing things even if it's not like something that I would particularly do. I love going and doing something and be like, well, I wouldn't have done that, but I actually had a good time. So maybe there's a K-pop concert that my friend will take me to in the future, and maybe I'll be swayed. I just kind of get overwhelmed by all of it, like especially now that I read the book and I know how intense it can be. I kind of get overwhelmed. I'm more of a casual music fan. Like, I do have favorite artists and I do support them as much as I can, but never on the level that a K-pop fan is supporting their people. Like, there's so much that my friend does as a K-pop fan that I would be like exhausted by doing, but she has a good time with it, so I respect it. I respect the K-pop fans. I respect the K-pop industry. I kind of have a lot of respect for how hard that you guys be working to accomplish your dreams. Hi, so I was meant to be reading In It to Win It next. Unfortunately, I just DNF within 2 pages, and I will not be reading it. I'm going to also unhaul it. It really sucks because I've had this on my shelf for over a year now, and I was like, oh, I'll get to it eventually. And of course, it's been a DNF this whole time. Like, I should have just picked it up a lot sooner because I could have just freed up the space on my shelf a lot sooner. The reason why I'm DNFing is because I read 2 pages, and within those 2 pages, there was multiple mentions of TikTok. The book actually opens up with her asking someone to help her make a TikTok dance. And I'm sorry to be like this, but I just don't do mentions of TikToks. It cringes me out. It gives me the ick. It makes me immediately DNF. I just don't fuck with it. It's a personal thing of mine. You might not disagree. You might be mad at me in the comments. That's totally okay. I just don't do it. I just don't. I have DNF so many books for the exact same reason. It's just like one of my DNF rules that are automatically a put down for me. And I was trying to go with an open mind, and it's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna move on to the next book because life's too short to read a bad book that I don't actually think I'm gonna enjoy at all. I'm all about pushing my comfort zone, trying a book that I'm a little bit hesitant. But when I get a red flag in my mind of, okay, this fucking sucks, nope, DNFing. Sorry. Hi. Bear with me. The lighting's weird because I have a really bad headache, but I don't want to forget to make this clip because sometimes when I do that and then I'm like, fuck, I'm editing, and then I'm like, oh, I never did the clip for that. So I'm going to go ahead and make this clip really fast so that I can go lay down and be out of light, but I can't stand to have very much light on right now. I'm here to talk about The Neverlist. I did finish this and I loved it. I'm giving it 5 stars. This book was so good. It does end on a cliffhanger, which really sucks, but I'll be sat for the next book. It had a perfect level of plot and smut. She does screw all 4 of them, as she should. I mean, it is a why choose, and she definitely didn't choose. I did guess the ending, like part of the ending. I thought it was super obvious from the get-go, but there was a part of the ending that I didn't guess, so I'm still a little gagged, and I'm not gonna take down the 5 stars because I still was gagged, and I still loved it a whole bunch. So technically, it's a 5 star for me. There are a little bit of things that I think kind of gave away the ending, but for the most part, I still really fully enjoyed it. I read it so quickly. It was so easy to read. It was so fun to read. I really recommend it. It's like it's a chunkier book, but I'm really proud of this author and what they've done because this is their first time writing such a big novel like this. I think they slayed it. I think they slayed their first time writing something this big, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. The next book, I don't know if the next book has been announced yet or like when it might come out, but I am going to be reading it. I definitely will be. And I am too lazy to make this clip twice, so I'm putting this into my November wrap up and my Annotate With Me wrap up because I just literally cannot be bothered to record it twice. And I'm not giving you spoilers because it's not much to say anyways, because it doesn't on a cliffhanger before we really find anything out. I had a really fun time annotating this. You can't really see the annotation tabs because I did them in the inside of the book, but overall, really fun time with this. And that's my thoughts. So, long time no talk. You don't know how long it's been? I'm about to tell you how long it's been. It's been 8 days since my last check-in. Life happened. I had Friendsgiving and I planned to read during Friendsgiving, and guess what? I didn't. I took like 5 days off from reading, and then I was only reading like 100 pages each day because then I had to go back to work, and it's been crazy, and I'm like so behind on my reading for the month. I don't think I'm gonna be able to complete my TBR for the month, which the book that I finally finished reading after 8 days was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I think I'm gonna give this a 4.5. I am gonna talk about this in an Annotate With Me video, so I don't want to give spoilers necessarily, but this book is fucking wild. The ending of this book had me gagged, and I don't know in a good or a bad way. A lot of character deaths happen. Just like bam, 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 bam. And I'm not even sure like who's alive and who's dead at this point because the book just ends. And I'm gonna have to read the sequel when it comes out in 2026. But this has me shocked. But it was fucking massive, and I don't think it needed to be massive, so I think I'm taking half a star off because of that. Because it felt like a lot of things were repeated. It kind of felt like it was holding my hand a little bit, and as someone who's a very experienced fantasy reader, I just didn't need the hand holding all the time. But this is the author's debut fantasy book, and I think for a debut fantasy, this really is phenomenal. The world building was great, the plot was interesting, the characters were interesting. I just think there was a couple moments where I was like, okay, this could have not been included, or like this didn't need to be spelled out the way that it was. To give you a very broad overview of what Shield of Sparrows is about, is in this royal family, one of the daughters is picked to be the bride of another royal member, and they're called the Sparrow. They're picked from a whatever age, and it's their responsibility to serve their kingdom as the bride and produce heirs for this other kingdom. And the main character wasn't picked as Sparrow, but then by a certain event, she becomes the Sparrow last minute, and she is put into a marriage of convenience, marriage of like arranged marriage almost, and she has to literally pick her life up and leave within like a day of the book starting. And her dad asks her to spy on this kingdom. He's like, hey, tell me what's going on over there. And for most of the book, she's not in love with her husband. She's in love with someone else, is all I'm gonna say. So there's like a weird, not love triangle. She's just not in love with who she's supposed to be in love with. And it was like juicy and messy and like really fun to read. I thought this was gonna have a lot of smut in it, and it didn't. It only had, I think, one actual smut scene, which took me by surprise because this author includes multiples in her romance books, so maybe she wanted to like take a step back on that. I'm gonna be set for the second book because, like I said, it ends wild. Like an attack happens, and you have no idea who's dead, who's alive, who's escaped, who's still there. And there is what they call the crux in this book, which is like where these animals come that are like pretty much invincible, and for like an entire season they just fucking terrorize people, and the only way to survive is to like bunker down and hide. They have to have like crops and stuff, and like there's also like this weird plot line of like them trying to make themselves stronger for the crux because it only happens every so many years and it's coming up soon. And I don't want to say it's like the most original plot line, but it was very interesting. I just think it could have been shorter. So I'm going to be giving it a 4.5. And yeah, not a bad book. This is my last physical book. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I don't disappear for like 8 days again. I am here to talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 2, which I think is called Doomsday Scenario. I think that's what it's called. I just always call it Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 2 to everyone. And I loved it. I'm giving it 5 stars. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook was so much fun to listen to. I was laughing for so much of the first half. Like, there's a part in the book where they're literally singing free ballin'. And if you know, you know. And I was giggling so fucking hard at that I had to clip it and send it to all my friends who's never even read the book. And I was like, y'all, I love reading. This makes reading so much fun. So I was giving them like out of context moments of the book. But then by the end of the book, I was sobbing. Like, if you know, you know. But like when Princess Donut admits the truth of what we all have known, I was literally sobbing for her. This book was wild. Like, so much plot is happening in this book. And when I didn't think anything else could be fit into it, it got fit somehow. It took you through a journey. Nothing was easy for them. They get fucked over sometimes. They have funny moments. They have sad moments. They have happy moments. They confront some hard truths. And it was really fun to learn more about some of the characters and get to meet some new characters. And I definitely had a lot of moments where I was like, I had less laughing moments than the first one, because I do think this one ramps up more in the emotions, and I know that going forward they have a lot of emotions in them, so I do I do realize that. So like, I laugh where I can, because there might not be very many laughing moments coming up in the other books. I won't be reading book 3 until 2026. I just literally do not have the time for it. I do own the audiobook, but I'm really behind on November reads already, and December I'm reading Christmas books, so Dungeon Crawler Carl is definitely going to have to wait until February to get picked back up, which I don't really mind to wait. They're so easy to get into. So much fun. I think they're the best audiobooks that I've ever listened to. Like, I love the sound effects that go into them, and like, I was so happy when my headset came home so that I could actually listen to audiobooks again. Also, I have a cow shirt that says "Everything Sucks" that my friend Esme got me for Friendsgiving, and I love it. She knows me so well. But yeah, I am trying to do some serious catching up on reading. The good news is all the books that I have left should be like really simple to get through because they're like romances or like, you know, mysteries, that kind of stuff. Like I finished Dungeon Crawler Horror Book 2 and I immediately started With Love, Sir Phillip, whatever the fuck that book's called. With Love, Sir Phillip, I think is what the book's called. It's Eloise's story in the Bridgerton books. Literally read almost 300 pages today after finishing Dungeon Crawler Coral. Like, I've read so much, and I think I have to read like 200 pages from here on out to finish in time. Hello. Okay. It is Sunday the 23rd. I am back to talk about two books because I kind of was listening to them as audiobooks as I was cleaning and such and getting ready for the con. I have a con in 2 weeks and I was packing. So we're going to talk about both of them. I finished Bridgerton, book 5 in the Bridgerton series, which is called Sir Phillip with Love, I'm pretty sure. And then I finished Rumors, which is the second book in the Lux series. I'm giving Sir Phillip with Love 4 stars. And I'm giving Rumors 2 stars. Dun dun dun. Let's start with Sir Phillip with Love. I've really enjoyed the Bridgerton series. I think this is the first one that I haven't loved out of all of them. It just didn't have like the juiciness and the tension and the chemistry of the other ones, especially coming off of like Benedict's book, which is like one of the last ones that I read before this. Like that book has so much chemistry in it, and this one is a lot more simplistic. Like, it's a lot more of a simpler love story. Eloise does deserve love, and I'm glad that she found it. I just think this is my least favorite because it didn't really hold my interest as much as the other ones. What it's about, if you don't know, the Bridgerton books are following brothers and sisters as they're getting like married off pretty much in their family. They have a family of 8. They all have names starting with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And this is Eloise, so she's right in the middle of the kids. She's the middle of the 8. And she's a spinster. She's 28. She never got married. She denied like 6 proposals. She just never really seemed herself getting married. She just didn't ever see her wanting to be with a man because she just thought that men didn't take women seriously because she has a lot of passions. And she's just like, I really don't foresee myself ever being married. Like, I think I'm happy being alone. And we got that for the previous books. Like, a lot of that in the previous books, especially in the show. In this book, she realizes that she actually might want to have a man, especially if it's a good, like, partnership, and he respects her and she respects him. Well, one day, this guy, he is married to Marina. You might not know who Marina is unless you've watched the show. In the show, she's who I think gets pregnant in season 1. They changed the whole storyline up. So he got married to Marina. They had twins. Marina gets what I'm assuming is postpartum depression. She never gets out of it. And she ends up killing herself. Like, she tries to drown herself in the lake. He saves her, but then she dies from the fever. So technically, she still killed herself. And then he gets a letter from Eloise one day being like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, because Eloise and Marina were cousins. And he decides to write Eloise back. And they start writing each other back and forth for an entire year. And then one day, after the year has gone by, he says, I'm looking for a wife and a mother. Would you like to be my wife and the mother to my twins? And she doesn't originally say yes. She's like, no, I don't even know this person. And then she does say yes. She ends up leaving and running away and going all the way across the country to meet this, I don't want to call him a stranger because she did talk to him for like a year via letters. So she does have some sense of who he is. And they have a very simplistic story of like, he's a botanist and he needs help with his children, and he really needs her to help with their kids because they're unruly. They are undergoing through a lot. And that's like most of the story is like them realizing if they're going to suit or if they're not going to suit. But then they get caught, doing some things you're not supposed to be doing before marriage, and then they're forced to get married, and then they end up being in love anyways. And I read it so fast. Like, That's the thing about Bridgerton books is that, like, I can read 200 pages with, like, just one blank. Like, I read them so incredibly fast. I just think this is the first one where I was, like, not completely sold on the story. But it's not a bad book. And Eloise does deserve happiness, and I'm glad that she found it. I do think it's interesting how much they've changed the stories in the show. And I realize a lot in this one, because, like, in the show, Anthony is the one. Anthony, and I can't never remember. I think it's Anthony. Is the one who finds his dad. And in the book, it's Eloise who finds her dad. So she's telling this man that she's going to be marrying her trauma about finding her dad dead. And then in the show, like I said, Marina is not married to him. And she's only pregnant with one baby. And she's the cousin of Penelope, I think. I can't remember exactly. But they've changed quite a bit in the show. And it will be interesting to see how this goes, because Eloise's season hasn't come out. We probably won't be getting it for like 5 more years at this point, because we're about to get Benedict's season. And then after Benedict's seasons will be Eloise's season. That takes like 2 years to do at minimum. So probably like, hopefully by, 2030, we'd have it. It's not bad. Now, the other book that I'm talking about, which is Rumors, which is the second book in the Lux series, I was really enjoying until the end, and then it pissed me off. And now I'm giving it 2 stars, and I'm DNFing the rest of the series. I actually have a funny story about that. When I decided to DNF the rest of the series, I was like, well, let me go on Storygraph and see what anyone's saying. Let me see if it's worth it. And there's this person named Susie on Storygraph who read every single book. And when I went into the review section, theirs was the very first review that popped up on every single book. And then the first book, she felt very similar to me. They were like, oh, this is kind of not YA, kind of interesting. The characters are kind of all over the place, but I'm going to read the rest because I'm kind of intrigued. And then we agreed on the second book of like, what the fuck was that ending? And she decided to keep reading. So I was like, okay, if she's already kind of on the fence like I am, let me check her other ones. Book 3, she's like, why am I even reading this series anymore? Like, what? Why? And then book 4, she gives 1 star and goes, I should have stopped when I could. So I'm gonna listen to you, Susie. If you're watching this out there, Susie from Storygraph, who read this series, I'm gonna take what you didn't, and I'm gonna stop while I can. They're like, apparently, even the ending of the actual series is not fucking worth it. Apparently, it's dog shit. Like, there's not any happy endings, apparently, which is wild. Because you're taking around, you have like all these different characters, and apparently none of them really get a good ending. And I'm like, interesting choice. And I'm just not going to read it. I'm going to DNF the rest of the series. This is, it's kind of like a Bridgerton-esque series, but like it takes place in New York, I think. Is it in New York? It gives like Gossip Girl vibes. Yes, it is in New York, because I remember they're going to, like, okay, it is in New York. It kind of takes place, it's like Bridgerton, but like it takes place in New York. Because it is like a bunch of people, in society trying to find a husband. And in the first book, like 2 different people want the same guy. Twice. Like there's 2 people that want this one guy and 2 people want this other guy. And there is this blacklisting that's happening that makes this girl fake her own death to run away to California with the guy. And in this book, she's like with the guy and she's still happy with him. And then at the very end of the book, he dies. So everything this character went through was for nothing, because she didn't even get her happy ending. And I don't want anyone else to get a happy ending if she didn't. And apparently they don't. But like, I cannot fathom why the author did that. Like, that is so crazy to me, because in the first book, we're set up about how much Will loves her and how much she loves Will. And then this book is also, they get married. They literally have a marriage ceremony. They literally have a wedding ceremony. And then like the very next day, he gets shot and killed right in front of her, because they thought that she got kidnapped. Like, they didn't know that she was still alive. And then she ends up coming back to New York for the ceremony. And the cops see her with Will, doesn't know that's her husband, and they think those are her kidnappers, and they shoot him. And she's not able to tell them that was her husband, because then she has to expose her whole lie. Even her mom's like, you can't tell them, that will expose her whole family. So she has to act like the man who was her husband was her kidnapper, and he's dying with a bad reputation, even though he was not even I mean, they literally ran off together to be in love, and I'm just like, there's no point in me reading the rest of the series. I literally could not care, because there's like Penelope is another character, and she's not a good person. She's the one blacklisting people and betraying people and stealing money and being weird, and also like, this is supposed to be YA, and it has a lot of discussions about sex to the point where I'm like, is this really YA? Like, it's definitely tipping the line. Kind of like how Gossip Girl was tipping the line. It's kind of like that. And I did... Hold on. My hair is being stupid. Okay. And I did watch Gossip Girl, and I did really, really like Gossip Girl. But, like, there was an element of Gossip Girl that made it almost bingeable, and these books don't have a bingeable sense to them. And also, Gossip Girl had a happy ending. Did it make you wait a really long time for the happy ending? Yes, but like, no one really died. There was like the blacklisting and the betrayal and all that, and there was the blacklisting and the betrayal and all that. But no one dies. And the fact that like the main love interest dies in book 2, I'm like, no, nothing about this is making me want to read the rest of the series. And I was gonna give it a 3-star originally, because I was like, oh, this isn't bad, this is like okay, and now it's a 2-star because now I'm pissed off. So that actually takes off 2 books from my TBR for the month. So I'm gonna be reading Tusk Love, which is really short, like 250 pages, and then I have to finish out another romance series that I've really, really enjoyed, and I have high expectations for the rest of the series. There is a Christmas one, and then there is the newest one that came out that's called Husband of the Year. So I only have 3 books to finish, and I have much higher expectations for these books than I did whatever the heck I just read. So, hi, it's been like 6 days. That just seems to be the pattern for this month. But I'm here to talk about the last couple of books that I read in November, because I did just finish my very last book of the month. I ended up reading 3 more since we last talked, and as you can see from the background, there's 25 days until Christmas. So, yip, hooray! November was simultaneously super slow and super busy at the exact same time, because I've been off work for 5 days, but I had like no time to myself. I was with family. I was with friends. I was with Cameron's family. I was with Cameron's friends. Then I was with Cameron. Yesterday we did our tree filing. Like, I was reading at nighttime, which is like not like myself whatsoever. Like, I'm very much a morning afternoon reader, and I was reading like 10, 11 p.m., staying up until 2 a.m. just to get reading in. The book that I read after Rumors, which is Tusk Love, I'm leaning towards giving this a 4.75. This is what I would call like leaning towards a novella sized book. I think it was like 250 pages. It is essentially like smut with a little bit of plot. This is by the same author of Hurricane Wars, which I really, really love, but this is like a romance more than a fantasy book. And I do believe this is based off of Critical Role, and I don't know anything about Critical Role, but I did enjoy the book. I just wish that there was a little bit more substance to the book. This is following someone who was born very poor, but their parents have this dowry for them that's like apparently like super important, that everyone wants to marry them, and their parents leave to go to this city to essentially find a husband for them. And then they get word that they have a husband and they need to travel from like point A to point B, and it's like a pretty far trip, like 7 days. And she gets escorted, but while she's going on her way, her escorts get killed by these people. And you're like, why is she getting attacked? Like, why is she so important? Because what's in her diary is not just like gems and money. There's something really, really important that someone is trying to get back. So after her escorts get killed, she runs into the main love interest, who is, he's got horns. I can't remember what his species is called. I almost said ogre, and that's not right. But he's got horns, that's why it's called Tusk Love. But he offers to take her the rest of the way, because he's like, you're so innocent and naive and weak, and you need someone to protect you. And she really does. she's like way too trusting to be on the road by herself. So he like leads her to her husband, but on this trek to her husband, they end up falling in love, they end up having sex, and then when she does get to her husband, the whole story that she thought she knew is just wrong. And it was really interesting. I almost wish that it would have been a longer book. That would have been what I gave it 5 stars for if it would have been a longer book. But I'm going to give it a 4.75 for Tusk Love. And then I read Mistletoe, and I think it's called Mishigas by M.A. Wardell. Actually, the last 2 books I read are both by this author. I was wrapping up the Teachers in Love series, and I'm going to be giving them both 5 stars. Spoiler, I guess, for Husband of the Year, but I'm going to be giving them both 5 stars. I really love this author. They write such an amazing stories. But Mistletoe and Mishkas, it's like the word for nonsense, I believe. This is following Sheldon and Theo. Theo is the janitor at the school, and Sheldon is a teacher. And they kind of end up having like a fake dating situation where he needs a date to a wedding, and Theo needs a date to Hanukkah with his parents, because they're like, both their parents are like, well, Theo is trying to make his parents think that he's dating someone, and Sheldon doesn't want to go to his ex-boyfriend's wedding by himself. He's like, I need a hot date. So they end up coming into some kind of agreement where they're going to pretty much like fake dating each other. And you know how that always goes. The fake dating turns into real dating. And it was like such a good Christmas book because the main character is Jewish. So you also get Hanukkah. But also the other main character is not Jewish. They're Christian. Well, not probably Christian because they're gay, but like they're not Jewish. They're not celebrating Hanukkah. So you get like both Hanukkah and Christmas in this book. And I thought that was such a beautiful way of like conjoining the holidays to represent both of them. And I thought it was so fun. I have like no critiques against either one of these last 2 books. I'm going to be so sad to not have this series in my life anymore because I really did love them. I actually got recommended by a friend of a friend. So when I went to Texas a few years ago, I stayed with my friend's friend. And we don't really know too much about each other. We've kind of kept like loose in contact. But this friend, when they read this series, they sent it to my friend, was like, oh no, you need to tell May to read this book. And I did. And I was like, oh my God, these are so good. It's gay teachers. Like every single book in this series is gay. And it has like, some of them have ADHD rep. One of them has OCD rep. Like they're very much wholesome, important representation in different communities. And they're so great. I really, really enjoy them. And then Husband of the Year, which is the finale of this series. It's getting 5 stars from me. This is the main character from the first book. This is them. It's their final book. It's Marvin and Olin. They're getting married. And it features the characters from books 2 and 3 in it as well. So it's like one big reunion of all these characters that you've kind of learned to love. And it was so cool to see them all interact. And it wasn't just a wedding story. It also had like a plot line of addiction and adoption of a newborn. And there's also like talks of like anxiety and ADHD. And it does have some smut in it. But like, I thought this was a perfect way to wrap up the series. So I just went and did a deep dive on this author. And it seems like they have multiple series that just got started or will be getting started in 2026. There's a Monsters romance coming out in 2026. Which hasn't really been announced with too many details, but I know it's a Minotaur one. There's a hockey novella coming out in February, and they just released the story of a cowboy romance, and they have Teachers in Love, which just got wrapped up. And then I think they have something that's a joint, like I was telling you about the joint author, then they have that series. So it seems like this author is making a lot of moves, and I'll be checking them all out. I have them on my TBR, I'll put them on my new releases for 2026. But that is so exciting that I've kind of found some ways to still support this author because I thought this was it. I thought this was all they had. Nope. That's so exciting. So let's give you guys my stats. Time for the stats because it feels like it's been a really horrible month, but I guess maybe it hasn't been. Let's find out together. What the fuck do you mean I only read 12 books? There ain't no goddamn way I only read 12 books. Oh, I did. I DNF'd 3 of them. I forgot. Guys, I forgot. Okay, so what a month. I forgot I DNF'd 3 books. So I read 12 books and DNF'd 3. And I listened to an 8-hour audiobook, and that was Dungeon Crawler Coral Book 2. And my average was a 3.97. I read 11 romances. That does make sense. I did read a lot of romances. Now to give you, okay, so those are my stats. I'm going to run through what I gave each book because it's, this video is going to be pretty long, and then I can tell you what my favorite book is because I'm still thinking of what my favorite book might be. So out of the 12 that I read, I gave Noire Moon a 4-star. I gave Twelfth Knight a 3.5. A Pirate Lives for Tea, a 4-star. Once Upon a K-Prom, a 3.75. The Neverlist, a 5-star. Shield of Sparrows, a 4.5. Dungeon Crawler Coral Book 2, a 5-star. To Sir Phillip with Love, a 4-star. Rumors, a 2-star. Tusk Love, a 4.75, I believe I said. And then Mistletoe and Mishigas and Husband of the Year are going to be getting 5 stars. So, picking out my favorite book of the month is going to be difficult, because I gave 4 5 stars. Okay. I think if you have watched all the way through, I think you can tell which one I enjoyed the most by like how excited I was talking about it. And I think it's going to be The Neverlist. I think my favorite book of the month is The Neverlist because it's by Jade Presley, which is one of my favorite authors. But the book was like so hard to put down. I had like binged like 250 pages in one day without even meaning to. I liked how there was 4 different men, and I loved the smut, and also the plot was interesting. I think that it's my favorite book of the month, and I think Dungeon Crawler Coral Book 2 is a close second. So that's how November went. How's it already December? Literally, tomorrow is December. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's chaotic. I know I didn't do a very good job with videos. Some of it's my fault. Some of it's not my fault. My headset broke. I've been really busy with holidays. I've been really busy with family. So I kind of had to just like read and film where I can. So I'm hoping to get kind of back on track in December, but also like I have newer and better expectations for 2026, and I do have a video that's going to be coming out of like giving you guys my 2026 expectations and like kind of preparing for 2026 with like a reading journal and how much I'm going to read each month. Like things are going to be hopefully better planned and organized in 2026. This has been all like a learning experience for me, and some months have been better than others when it's come to videos and how well I'm able to film and all that, and that's just life. But, 12 books and 3 DNFs. What a month. Truly, what a month. I am so excited to read Christmas books. I'm reading 3 in December, and then I'm reading 3 other physical books. And yes. Oh my gosh. Do you guys want to see my haul? I forgot. But I have a haul. I do in fact have a Black Friday haul, and I spent a lot of money, and I'm not going to go over all of it, but I did buy 4 books if you'd like to see the books that I bought. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to give you my book hauls because I have too much other stuff that would be really difficult to show. But during Black Friday, I went to the mall and they had books 50% off. And then if you were a member, you got 60% off. And I am a member of BAM, so I did get 60% off. And 3 of these are literally special editions that I got for like $7, $8. So the first 2 are in a series. I have books 1 and 2 of the Red Queen series, I think that's what it's called. And they do have the sprayed edges. I know some people don't like sprayed edges on paperbacks. I personally don't mind them as long as they're not just like a simple collar. I think that sprayed edges should just be normalized. Like it shouldn't be expensive to get a sprayed edge. So I don't mind when they're on paperbacks. But yes, I have book 2 and then book 1, and they didn't have the rest of the series that day, so I didn't get the rest of them. And then this, I've talked about this book series a lot on this channel, but this is the newest book in the How Does It Feel series. It does have the sticker still on it. I'll take it off eventually, but this is the last one in the series called Can You Take It? I don't have any plans to read this in December because I kind of forgot about it. I know, how dare me. So I'll be reading this in January. And then I've already read this, but I have the other special edition. So I got The Curse by Harper L. Woods, and it has the sprayed edges, and I think it might, yeah, it has the end papers, and yeah, it's really, really, really stunning. Okay, I just went and checked on my shelf. I don't own the first one. What the hell happened to it? Because I remember being at BAM last time, seeing the special edition of the first one on sale, and then grabbing it and being like, oh, I'll pick up the second one later. And then when I saw the second one today, I was like, well, not today, but a couple days ago, I was like, oh my god, I have the complete set now. Apparently I don't. So I guess when I go back to BAM! I'm gonna have to check the BAM bargain section again to see if they have the Coven on sale. That's crazy. Also, I have a clip of me opening my very first blind box that I never shared anyone or shared with anyone or anywhere. I'm also gonna attach it to this video since I'm already talking about like a haul. That's how I'm gonna end this video, is you're gonna get a random blind box opening from me. And it was a really good one. It was a really good haul. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy my little blind box unhaul, my little blind box opening. I don't know why I've been saying unhaul. My little blind box opening. Also, speaking of unhauls, I unhauled almost every single physical book that I read this month. I think I ended up unhauling 4 books right away. Awkward, but that doesn't mean my shelves are getting room in them to get new books. But thank you so much for watching, and thanks for sticking along if you've stayed this long. Hi guys, I just went to the mall for my anniversary and I thought I'd do a little haul video. I have no idea what video this will end up being a part of because it's not going to be long enough to make it its own video. But I have 2 blind boxes and then I was going to open those for you guys, and then I was going to show off the other 2 items that I got. So I did end up getting a book. I got Good Spirits, which this is one of my favorite romance authors. And this is their newest book. It's a Christmas book, and it has like sprayed edges that I thought was absolutely beautiful, and I really expect to love this. I'm gonna be reading it probably in December, so that's like my one big book purchase. And then I'm going to a Comic-Con in December to meet some of the Twilight cast, and I originally planned on doing an Alice cosplay, and then I realized how expensive it would be to get like the fucking baseball hat and the baseball jersey. So instead, I got like the basic ass Twilight shirt. I got it for literally $5. It was like your last chance to get this shirt from Five Below. And I'm just gonna like dress it up, maybe with a skirt and some fishnets and some makeup. We'll see how that goes. But then for the blind boxes, I actually got this mega mini arcade. They're like animals that are like gaming. And I don't know if I can do this, but there's like a bunny and then a kitty and like a panda and a froggy and like a skunk and then a mystery one. I probably would want the panda, the bunny, the frog, or the secret, because this secret looks like it might be yellow, and my favorite color is yellow. And then I got this really fucking stupid Twilight acrylic standee, and it's like Diamonds, You're Beautiful. There's a Charlie Swan one, there's a Team Wolf, there's a Team Vampire, and then there's a Bella, Where the Hell Have You Been, Loca, and then a mystery one. I either want the Charlie Swan one or the Where the Hell Have You Been, Loca one. Because if I get the other 3, unless it's the secret, I'm probably going to give it away. So let's start with this. It's actually my first blind box ever. Oh god. Some ASMR. Oh my god, even the packaging is really cute. It says, time to lock in. These little gamers just want to level up. Select your player and press start. I'm so excited. Is there like a card? I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to like... Okay. I don't know if I did that right. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys first. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes. What do we get? Is it cute? Am I holding it upside down? Oh my god, wait, I think we got the secret. Did we get the secret? Oh my god, I think we got the secret. Wait, no, I think we literally got the secret. Because I don't see a little blue guy. Hold on. I think there's a card. We did get the secret. We got Zippy the Night Owl. I'll sleep when I'm dead. This is so cute. Oh my god. You know who would really love this? Nathan. Am I gonna give it to them? No, because it's the secret. This is so good. Their drink, like, they have a little bag of what looks like probably like Cheez-Its, and then their drink looks like almost like milk that says Get Good on it. And this is really cute. I actually hate the color blue, but a little owl, that's so cute. I cannot believe that was my first blind box, and I literally got the secret. That is crazy. Okay, I do think this one's not hidden very well, so I think as soon as I pull it out, you're gonna be able to see it. think I need to go this way. I'm gonna show you guys. What do we get? Is it good? Oh god. Oh god, we got the Team Wolf one. I mean, that's fine. I was just really hoping to get the Charlie one. God damn it. There it is. I'll keep it because I don't really know who I'd give it to. It can go back here. But I'm really happy with my little gamer. He's so cute. Zippy the owl. I love Zippy the owl. Okay. Well, that is my little haul. Like I said, I have no idea what video this will go into. I don't really have a video for this. Because I'm going to edit out the 9 minutes of me opening these damn things. I'm probably really excited to eventually wear this shirt to the con and to read that book eventually. So that's all. I don't know what's growing. You'll see it eventually.